Hello, Grand Circle Tour passengers, and welcome to an exciting breaking news GCT bulletin. We got a lot of exciting news coming from Disney today, and it was a lot to handle, so we thought you would jump on and give a little synopsis of what they released and our opinions on it, and tell us what you think after this is released. Joining me in the GCT studio tonight is Mindy.
Hey, how are you? I had to come here to talk about all the brawling online. So social media is in uproar about these things. So I'm all here to play.
So we're going to join the brawl. So,
Right.
and also Jason.
I will be your guys' muscle.
We're gonna start a brawl, more like that.
So some of the news that was released today, it's what I call a trifecta, but let's start with one portion of it at a time. That Disney has announced a lot of limitations and restrictions for guests entering into their parks, more so for the domestic parks of Walt Disney World and Disneyland, starting with the strollers. Now, it says in the article that strollers were normally entering into the parks were 36 inches wide and 52 inches in length. The 52 inches in length has stayed, but the width has dropped down from 36 to 31. So what do you guys think? Do you think that plays a major impact on, guests traveling with small children? Or what do you guys think?
I will feel really bad for anybody that rolls up at the gate and is told by Disney, you have to go back to your hotel room, put that one away, come back and rent one of ours.
True, because they're going, I can get, selfie stick, they chuck it, whatever. But people who plan to go to Disney, and especially those people who don't go a lot, they're not on social media. They're not following what we are seeing every day. So they're going to show up at the door, the gate, and be like, what the heck? How am I going to push my kids around? Now you got to rent a stroller. And I'm on both sides because I see the good and bad in this one.
I agree with you, Mindy. I was torn both ways. Like, I noticed to the fact of, especially, when walking through the parks, I could understand with Galaxy's Edge opening and everything, with capacity-wise and people walking, trying to get to one place to another, the parking spaces for the strollers alone. So I definitely could understand, and I think that's probably why they knocked some of the width down. That was probably the whole point. But also at the same time, there's a lot more of families that go to these parks than just people going solo. And when you have a family, a lot of times, people like to take their young children there to experience it the first time, get their feet wet into the parks. And a lot of them, believe it or not, are infants. They're babies. And it just makes me wonder, the first thing that popped into my head was, for people that have possibly twins or even triplets, so automatically to save themselves time, they're going to take a extra large stroller for how many kids that they have. So does that mean that if, just to say, a family has triplets, 3 babies, that they would have to have 3 individual strollers for 2 parents?
That's a very rare circumstance, though,
right.
George. You're talking 1 in a million chance of having triplets to begin with. But with that said, if we're talking size, I think yes, but the thing is they're so large, they take up the whole dang walking sidewalk. And people use them as batting rams. Your shin or your ankles and your shins are getting rammed over by the strollers. And now what's happening is they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And these parents are toting around these new ones. They're these huge things that look like canopies that the kid can lay down and take a nap in. And shoot, parent wants to lay down, they could crawl in there too. It's big enough. Not really, but
yeah now that I definitely agree upon.
That's so extreme, but I get it.
But just to say, as for the sake of the conversation, but what if there is a family that has triplets? How do they go? Does Disney?
The twin stroller will still fit most of them. Most of them are still under the 31 inches. The double strollers. So then the other parent would just
So they
push the
do.
single
Okay,
stroller.
so they do make
Yes,
like
I did
double.
look into that, and I was like, I wonder how that's going to work. So I kind of did a little bit of research. Most strollers are in that, but the bigger ones, like the jogging strollers that you see parents feel like they're entitled and need to push around. I mean, really, do you need to bring a jogging stroller to Disneyland? No. What about those little umbrella strollers, the ones that just fold up and just teeny tiny? I took it when my kid was 5. Yeah, he gets tired. I didn't want to hold him, so I just pushed one of those little umbrella strollers around. And you know what I did? After I was done, I found some family that the kid was like, I'm tired. I said, you know what? I gave that to them. I said, I don't know if you could use this. We're done with our trip. Pay it forward. And I just left it. It was $10, whatever.
And I think that's where my back and forth goes. I understand it more so for the older children because you could just get something small and skimpy. I guess my main thing was for people that actually come in with like
Multiple kids. Yeah.
And like little babies because you can't put
Yeah.
like baby in one of those things. So that's where I was more concerned of how but if majority of them could still fit within the 31-inch width.
I think the biggest thing that was interesting to me that said that was talking about the strollers though, and I know this was taking a little bit longer, but that you can't have anything pulled behind a scooter, a wheelchair, or a stroller. So what I'm talking about is we've even mentioned it. Oh, we're putting a patent on it. No, you can't take a picture of it. My husband went home and invented his own dang thing. But what it is, it has wheels on the bottom. It's a little platform, and it just hooks onto the back of a stroller. So, and it goes behind, like where the parent pushes. So behind the handles, the little kid who's like 2 or 3 can stand up in front of the parent, and they stand on this little platform, and it just wheels around. So they don't have to walk. So they just stand there, and the stroller will move. I've seen them, and you can buy them online. But this one family had it off to the side, and this kid was riding around on it, and she's like, you can't take a picture. Well, those things cannot be attached anymore. And what my husband did, my son, he's 14, but again, he has autism. So I kid you not, my husband built and like completely took an old skateboard and put a rig on it to where it moved up and down, but he just would tie it up. So it's tied up behind it, and he only does it between the hotel and Disneyland. So it's not pulled around in the parks, but it's attached to his scooter. And then when we're done ready to go home for the night, my son can just hang on to it and just rides the back of the bottom of a skateboard, and it goes just fine. But those are not allowed anymore at all.
Okay. And just like with the wagons too.
Yes.
Which they weren't really
wagons.
supposed to be either, but now
people were doing it. Yes.
Yeah, now they're completely forbidden.
So that's that topic.
Yeah.
Real quick, you know who's going to be most upset about this? The personal shoppers who use strollers to carry their.
Oh, yeah. They're going to have to rent one, but that's going to cut into their budget. So I don't know. You're right.
We'll see. So
my husband puts that on the back of his scooter, but he does not use it in the park. It's only to get Caden to the park and back to the hotel. Like he literally ties it up, and it actually hides it behind the seat, so you can't even see it because it bends. It's so cool what he invented. I'm like, we should patent that thing. It's so great. It's for adults because most of those little platforms, you can't be more than 40 pounds or it'll break. So he's like, let's make one for an adult. And he totally rigged it up. It was so great.
There you go.
Yes.
So the second part of the news that Disney had released was the non-smoking policy in the parks. And I think, Jay, you have some opinions on that.
I have a different take on this because I used to smoke. So my heart goes out to the smokers. I feel bad for them. But that being said, last time I was at Disneyland, I rode the train. And as you're on the train riding through Frontierland, the smell of the smoking section hits you so hard as you're going through behind Fantasyland. My only advice to smokers from this point forward is, you know what, when the train comes back online at Disney World, use it as an opportunity rather than feel frantic. Take the train back to Main Street. Smoky section is going to be right outside. Let's just hope they don't put it right under the monorail.
And I definitely get it because, I mean, my mom's boyfriend also smokes. So, but he's the kind that he will, step away, to have his cigarette, not try to be around people as much as possible because you never know. And especially since I'm a very bad asthmatic, that anytime I get a whiff of cigarette smoke or cigar smoke or what have you, my allergies just go off the wall. And when you're trying, especially when in Walt Disney World, when you're traveling through Frontierland into where I like to call the fork in the road, either where you could go straight on to Liberty Square or make a right to Adventureland, that main pathway where the parade route goes, there have like that bridge or that dock that you could walk by that's on like by the river, and that's the smoking section. And you're either escaping the crowds or the parade, or you're fighting through all that cigarette smoke. So I mean, I do understand, the policy on that. And as I said, it kind of is not to toot my own horn, but it's a plus for me because, as I said, with being a very bad asthmatic, then I won't have the stress to know, am I going to get sick on vacation?
And you don't want to get sick on vacation. It's not fair. It's one of those things you can't please anybody. You just have to rip the Band-Aid and do it. Also being said, I wish they would ban perfume because I'm allergic to perfume the way you are smoke. I will have to leave a building.
Like all scents or certain scents?
It's just when there's too much of it.
Oh, yeah.
Can't
go into Bed Bath & Beyond or Bath & Body Works?
I can't go to the bottom floor of any department store.
Yeah.
So I wish they would ban perfume at the parks too.
That probably won't ever happen, but it's a nice thought for you.
And then the last part of the trifecta is the no bringing of loose ice or dry ice. Now, this one I didn't really understand too much because I was trying to go through the whole article. But Mindy, you kind of have a synopsis on this.
I do. So it says no loose or dry ice. And what that's really saying is you can't bring the dry ice, and people do it. They just chuck it in, like make little tiny pieces of it or put it in their baggie and put it in an ice chest. Now, ice chests are allowed into Disneyland if they're soft-sided. You cannot bring, a big old tote and carry it around. It just has to be a soft-sided cooler. But with that said, you can no longer bring loose ice, like the kind you get out of a bag or you go to, the grocery store and pick up. You can't bring that into the parks anymore. So there's a reason for it, but I'm going to give our listeners a tip. So we're from Arizona, and what we do, and if you're close enough to drive, or you can go to Target and get some, we just go get bottles of water. So we usually get a 36 pack, and we put them in our freezer, and we let them freeze overnight, and we take them and just put them in the ice chest and bring our food, and that food will stay cold because of the bottles of water. So it takes us about 5.5 hours to get to Disneyland, and we stay for 3 or 4 days, and we'll take those frozen bottles and put them in our soft-sided cooler. And if we bring some snacks, we put those in between the ice bottles. So you've got your ice pack and your frozen water. The water will stay cold all day, and it gets melty along the way. As you go through your trip, our water does start to melt. But the great thing is most hotels around Disneyland Resort have a freezer or a little fridge at the top. Just put 3 or 4 bottles in there overnight, and they will be rock hard in the morning. So you've got new bottles of frozen water. You put those in your ice chest, you've got your ice packs. So they do allow ice packs. They're no longer allowing the loose ice. And the reason is, you guys, is because with even a little ice your cooler, those security guards can't see to the bottom of your ice pack or your ice cooler. So you could be bringing stuff in that's really not safe, and they want to make sure that they're taking care of all of our safety. And I mean, think about it. If something bad were to happen and somebody snuck something in that wasn't okay, I'm just like a bomb or a gun, something, they could put it at the bottom of that bucket and just walk right in because they can't see below that ice. So they just want to be able to open your ice chest and kind of dig to the bottom and see, and that's where the ice packs would help divert that. So there you go. No ice. That one's going to be a short one. There's not really anything you can argue about that with. Bringing food into the parks, we can talk about that a little bit. But other than that, you really just divert to the ice packs or freeze your water bottles. Super simple, easy, like alteration to that problem.
Okay.
Freezing your water bottles works great. We do it all the time when racing.
Yeah. And you got cold water all day. Your kids aren't complaining, it's hot. No, it's cold all day long. And we love it. We bring 2 each. One's in the ice chest still, and one's in our backpacks. And so we just sip on that water all day long. And if it gets empty and it's just ice, we pour some water in. Go up to one of the, counter service, ask for a cup of water, pour it, fill it back up, and you've got that frozen ice in your bottle and cold, cold water all day, all day.
Awesome. So that was the news for, as I said, what I'm calling Disney's trifecta of breaking news as far as with the no smoking, no loose ice or dry ice, and the reduced limitations on the strollers, and also the attachment of no wagons. And then today it was released separately that as breaking news that Mickey's Philharmagic is going to be premiering at Disney's California Adventure Park in April. It apparently is taking over the Sunset Showcase Theater in Hollywoodland. And I'm not sure if it's on a permanent basis, if it's just for Mickey's 90th birthday celebration. But, I mean, if it stays, I hope it does. I think it'll be a great addition. Because especially since DCA doesn't really have a whole lot of recognition with the mainstream characters. So I think it would be kind of nice to have something in there. What do you guys think?
Well, DCA is Pixar and Marvel now. And it's going to be awesome to have Philharmagic, which is really Donald's Philharmagic, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But it's going to be there for a short time. As soon as the bulldozers come in from Marvel Land, it's gone.
Yeah, I totally concur 100%. I'm glad it's coming because back there's not much to see. The show that's in there, I don't know. I say I'm all for it.
Mindy, when was the last time you went to that theater?
Years? I don't know. I walk by it. I know it's there. I see some people wait outside for it. But that's going to change the whole trajectory of who goes back there. And I see that because most people at Walt Disney World at Magic Kingdom love Mickey's Philharmagic. Like, it's a top attraction and they go see it. And it's funny and it's cute. I mean, you have to be a certain person to enjoy the Muppets. I get they have a following and a little cult following, but it's not in your face Disney. So this way you get to see the characters and have a fun little, rendezvous with Mickey and Donald Duck. So I love it. I'm all for it. It's been years since I've been there, though.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever even watched a movie preview when they've had it there.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever. I haven't even been in the theater. So again, just like Mindy, I just walked past it. No, it's there, but nothing struck my fancy.
Yeah.
But so I guess so they're putting something in there temporary, but something that's effective to have a good guest flow moving throughout the park until eventually I think that whole section's going to be completely gutted.
It's all going to be gone but the Tower of Trash.
Tower of Trash. Heck yeah.
And so the final little piece of detailed information that Disney released, this isn't really a big surprise. This is stuff that's already been sort of kind of released. But It's more so Disney's way of tackling the crowds and guest flow through Galaxy's Edge. I guess more so primarily for Disneyland, because they're saying, talking about on May 31st, that guests, there's going to be no traditional standby line for Galaxy's Edge. All guests have to have a reservation to even just visit the land. So what do you guys think of that? Mindy, I know your whole take on the
Star Wars land thing. I think it's a great idea, but I was listening to another podcast and I agree with what they were saying. What about the people who aren't like us, or those who listen to this podcast aren't so entailed with social media and keeping up, and they're going to go to the parks and spend all of this money and know that it's opening and then be told, sorry, you have to have a reservation. Now, rumor has it, it says that's the only way you're going to get in, but it's not true. Okay. So there's another way to get in, and it is going to be like a standby line. So what the reservations really are fast passes, so to speak. And there will be a standby line, but the standby line is going to be an 8 to 10 hour wait. So come with some patience. If you are planning on going to Star Wars Land, they will let it in as people leave and explore and find out what's going on. I'm all for the reservations. In fact, Brandon and I have talked about it and said they should do the entire park that way, excuse me. Like, you pick when you're going to go to the parks, and you put a reservation down that those are the days you're going to be there, and they can know how many people are going to be at the parks at any given day.
That's actually a good point of what you were saying with that people that don't follow Disney, because if you're a diehard Star Wars fan and just a Star Wars fan only, you're not going to know the Disney lingo. You're not going to know the Disney way. All that they'll see is, oh, this is a new Star Wars attraction that we get to experience. So bringing diehard Star Wars fans into the mix with already Disney fans that love Star Wars, that, hopefully Disney knows, that they can harness, the crowd control on that.
Well, they're going to have to figure that out real quick, because first day is going to be people who know what to expect. I say after the first month is when you get the people who come down who just want to come see Star Wars the way they would have just come down to see Splash Mountain when it opened, and not expecting or knowing. There's a chance they could stand in line all day and have spent this money, come all this way, and not even ridden one ride because it may break down.
Do you think that May 31st through June 23rd is enough? Because I don't think.
No. And my other question is, how? I'm sure they haven't figured out because they haven't told us, but how are they going to enforce the reservation system when someone's time is up? How are they going to get them out? Are you relying on the honor system with the brand new toys at Disney?
Well,
maybe change the color of a band so they would know. Like, all greens leave. They do it at Jump Street, so it's like these little jumpy things. Like, all the greens get out, all the reds go in. I don't know.
Well, that's even like the cantina within the land itself. There's only a certain amount of seating space. You're not allowed to take any of your drinks outside of the cantina. And it's only going to hold a capacity, I think they said, of 100 people. So you're going to have your drink, finish it, and people's going to go in there not even just for the drink, but to take pictures, selfies, and everything. So everything, not even just as the land, but even the features within the land are going to be packed upon packed upon packed with people. So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
It's all going to be a whole bunch of learning for Disney.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely stepping into new waters. And I'm more so curious. Not saying that I like to look at success or failure, but I just would love to see how they handle this, because this isn't going to be small.
I'm cautiously optimistic, but having done Disney Ops, I'm not going to say what it is, but it's a potential poop storm coming their way.
Well, we will definitely see the first breaking point on May 31st because it's right around the corner.
I'm going to try to fly home in May so I can hit Disneyland one more time before Star Wars opens.
That's smart. I would definitely try to make that a goal. Because especially when we're all out there in August, that's going to be some fun.
I wonder if we can get reservations now.
Yeah.
For August.
Yeah. Get in line now.
I personally think that in time, even after June 23rd, they may even extend the policy of having a reservation. I could be wrong, but I think they are.
And as busy as Disneyland is with just annual pass holders, I could see it going all the way to the end of the year.
Yeah. Yep, I could see that. Because, I mean, already the blockout dates are the whole entire summer.
Mm-hmm. And once those blackout dates are lifted, that's when you're heading into, that's when the Haunted Mansion and Small World go down and all the Christmas decorations come up. And that's when Disneyland gets even busier.
Yeah.
Disneyland's as busy for the holidays as it is for summer.
Yeah. I honestly think that probably no matter what time now, especially after Galaxy's Edge, every month is going to be a busy month.
Yep.
Yeah. I do find it funny that all these changes they're making, the smoking, the ice, the strollers, they all go into effect 30 days before Galaxy's Edge opens.
Isn't that coincidental?
So do you think that was specifically for that notion? If Galaxy's Edge wasn't opening, have they all changed?
No, this is the no fun part of Project Stardust.
Mm-hmm.
So they're clearing it out before they get into the even bigger stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what else changes after Star Wars opens.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because they're going to have to work out the kinks and everything to see what would fit, what would work.
Well, this is going to fundamentally change Disneyland forever.
Mark my words. They're going to charge a separate entrance fee into Star Wars. That's just my thought.
I second that.
Just my thoughts.
I totally see on the admission marquee your passport price plus your Star Wars price.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be like an attach-on fee for the annual pass holder, sort of like the Max Pass, but it'll be much more.
But even for the day guest.
Oh yeah. Yep. It's like if you want this additional add-on, here's the price for it.
Yep.
Oh, Disneyland, we love you, but we are afraid for you.
Yes, definitely. Yep.
I know.
So we will definitely see. Well, passengers, we thank you for joining us with this breaking news update from the Grand Circle Tour podcast. Thank you guys for joining me on this last-minute little trip.
Anytime. Anything to hang out with you, George.
Yeah.
Throw up the George signal in the sky and we'll be there.
Exactly.
I'll have a big G. It could be either G for George or G for Grand Circle. So
I'll call you G Money. You're G Money and he's J.
G Money and J.
G Money. That's your new nickname for me. All right, passengers. It's been real. It's been fun. And it's been real fun.
See you, passengers.
Bye. Good night.